sites.
And are you presently employed?
I'm retired.
I understand you wanted to make an introductory comment.
Yes. Back in the 50s, there was a very, very big developer named Joe Powell. Some of you may remember him. Looking at the commission, some of you are too young to remember him. But I remember after one controversy, Joe Powell said, there will be no agriculture here on this island in 20 years, or a statement similar to that. When I left for college in 1963, I found that, I would read and hear news about Hawaii, that our plantations were beginning to struggle. And when I got home in 1971, passed the bar, started practicing law, and became a lawyer, and then was elected to the State House in 1974, you already began to have this domino effect as the plantations went down. Mostly because of market conditions. Those of us who were in the legislature who did our best to try and save agricultural land, fought some battles that in the end we lost because the market took over. And big ag could not survive. Today there's no big ag on this island. I had a talk with Robert Pfeiffer, who was kind of an icon in this town, also probably best known as the chairman and president of Alexander and Baldwin at the time. And I was a young member of the House, and I said, I asked him, I said, Mr. Pfeiffer, with all these plantations going down, can't we grow our own food? And he said, you know, Ben, he said, we could, on maybe 40, 50,000 acres of land, grow everything we needed. But we couldn't sustain it because they grow things on a much larger scale in California. And so economically, A and B could not compete. That was the mindset of big agriculture, corporate mindset. And for a long time, I think, in the legislature and on the land use commissions, people felt that this was inevitable. And decisions that were made, some bad, some good, led to reclassifying agricultural land for urban purposes. Well, about, I think it was in the early 1980s, I think I was a member of the State Senate at that time, and someone told me, hey, there's a guy named Larry Jeffs. He's growing watermelons on Molokai, and he's selling them to Canada or someplace. I thought, wow, this is incredible. I have to meet this guy. And so at some point I met with Larry Jeffs, and I found out he was from Minnesota or someplace. I don't know if Larry's here, but Larry, if I'm mistaken, let me know. And he was an accountant. This accountant had become a successful small farmer. And when he moved his operation to Leeward, Oahu, at that time, I think I may have been lieutenant governor, and John Hawai'i was the governor. I kept an eye on what Larry was doing. And once I visited his farm, and I found that he had about 100 employees, maybe a little bit more. He paid them good wages, and he was successful. Now, in my mind, that was an example of something that Mr. Pfeiffer could not see because he was looking at it from the corporate level. But here was a small farmer who was beginning to succeed. At a later time, 1998 campaign, I was running for re-election, and I was in Kona in a restaurant, and I saw this guy outside to the window, and he had stacks of tomatoes in his pickup truck. So I went outside and I talked to him. I forgot his name, but he was a Korean American, and apparently he had been big in tomatoes for a long time. Then he closed down, but now he found a new niche. And I said, wow, what are you going to do with all those tomatoes? He said, I sell them to the hotels. I sell everything I can grow, he said. And I thought to myself, oh, well, why is that? Because people's tastes have changed. People want produce that's grown here, not shipped in from the mainland. Later on, I met Alex Su, Aloun Farms. He's another guy. He's an accountant, you know, and he managed to build his farm. You know, the last time I saw Alec, he had spent about $1 million for that this chilling operation over there. These anecdotes tell me, or told me when I was governor, that there is a future for small farmers here in this state. And consequently, and I got to confess to you, I'm not a farmer. I know very little about agriculture, farming. But I can learn from what I experienced. And so what we did in terms of showing that agriculture was a high priority for my administration, we bought the Waiholei Ditch. Wanted to make sure that you'd have water coming over to the leeward side, because in the whole scheme of things, that area produces far more than any other area on this island by multiple times. And so here I was the governor, and my attention on farming had kind of changed, and it became, I think, more sensitive to the needs of small farmers, and I wanted to see that industry grow. My understanding is that the Horton Corporation has made some accommodation with Aloun Farms and with Larry Jeffs. I think it's great. But this is not only about those two guys. It's about the future of small farming and the ability to expand small farming, so that other people who may look at Larry and Alex say to themselves, listen, maybe we can do this. Get into the business and give them some competition and grow produce that I think is consistent with the policy set by this administration, my good friend Governor Abercrombie, that we should do everything we can to have food security and sustainability. I was told that there are about 4,500 acres of prime agricultural land left on this island. And by prime, I was told, they meant land that was fertile and that had water. There are about 20,000, I think, lands designated agriculture, but they don't have water. So when I found out that this project would take about 30% of that 4,500 acres, it didn't seem right to me for the purpose of agriculture, small farm agriculture. And that's why I oppose it. Once you pay these things, that's it. It disappears from the agricultural category. I know that the Horton has come up with some very, I think, creative ways to try and maintain agriculture. But, that's a battle that we in the state fought for a very, very long time. Ag parks, for example, is countless failures because people want to rent or lease an acre and pretend to be farmers but build some nice house on the land. These things just don't hold up. And so that's where I'm coming from, and this is the reason why I oppose the reclassification. Thank you.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Petitioner.
No questions.
County.
No questions for Governor.
No questions. Dr. Dudley.
No questions.
I'm disappointed. Thank you.
Sarah Twelve. Oh, sorry. Governor. Commissioner. Just a moment.
Oh, sorry.
We may surprise you if you want.
Okay.
Commissioners, questions? No. Sorry, Governor.
Thank you.